Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam, welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we will be sharing the nectar from the recorded class of His Holiness Prahladananda Swami Maharaj from Canto 4, chapter number 27, sloka number 7. I will be starting the audio, just give me a minute.
So reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 27, attack by Chanda. So reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter
audible?
27.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji, thank you.
Attack by Chandavega on the Sanjan. Text 7. Duhitri Dashotara Shatam Pitri Matri Yashaskari Shilo Darya Gunopeta Paranjanya Prajapate.
Is the audio is not audible?
It's audible, Prabhu, very much audible.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: O Prajapati, King Prachinibarhishat. In this way, King Paranjan also begot 110 daughters. All of these were equally glorified like the father and mother. Their behavior was gentle, and they possessed magnanimity and other good qualities. Please repeat, O Prajapati, King Prachinibarhishat. In this way, King Paranjan also begot 110 daughters. All of them were equally glorified like the father and mother. Their behavior was gentle, and they possessed magnanimity and other good qualities. Purport: children begot under the rules and regulations of the scriptures generally become as good as the father and mother, but children born illegitimately mainly become Varnas Sankara. The Varna Sankara population is irresponsible to the family, community, and even to themselves. Formerly, the Varna Sankara population was checked by the observation of the reformatory method called Garbhadan Samskara, a child beginning religious ceremony. In this way, we find that although the king Paranjan had begotten so many children, they were not Varna Sankara. All of them were good, well-behaved children, and they had good qualities like their father and mother. Even though we may produce many children, our desire for sex that is beyond the prescribed method is to be considered sinful. Too much enjoyment of any of the senses, not only sex, results in sinful activities. Therefore, one has to become a Swami or a Goswami at the end of his life. One may beget children up to the age of 50, but after 50, one must stop begetting children and should accept the Vanaprastha order. In this way, he must leave home and then become a sannyasi. A sannyasi's title is Swami or Goswami, which means that he completely refrains from sense enjoyment. One should not accept the sannyas order whimsically. He must be fully confident that he can restrain his desires of sense gratification. King Puranjan's family life was, of course, very happy. As mentioned in these verses, he begot 110 sons and 110 daughters, 1,100 sons and 110 daughters. Everyone desires to have more sons than daughters, and since the number of daughters was less than the number of sons, it appears that Puranjan's family life was very comfortable and pleasing. Here, he only had 1,210 children to take care of, so he didn't have much to worry about. Dutri do shatara shatam pitri matri yashaskari shilo darya guno peta paranjanya prajapate. O Prajapati, King Parhishat. In this way, King Puranjan also begot 110 daughters. All of them were equally glorified like the father and mother. Their behavior was gentle, and they possessed magnanimity and other good qualities. Namo Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatunde Ve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shnivadi Paskatyade Satarana. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhunkte Prakriti Jangunan Karna Guna Sangosya Sad Asad Yoni Janmasu. The living entities in this material world thus follow the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of material nature. This is due to their association with those modes, and thus they meet with both good and evil amongst the various species. In other words, the material nature is not working independently or accidentally. It's working under certain laws, and it's working under the control of an intelligent person. Therefore, everything is happening according to desire in the material world. And desire is manifested according to our conception of life. So according to our mentality, it says here, at the time of conception, we produce certain children. But that's true for everything. According to our mentality, at the birth of any activity, that will produce the results of the activity. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone know? We'll have a Bhagavad Gita test here. Where does Krishna say that what modes produce different results? We can give you the Sanskrit, you can give the translation. Karmina sukritas yahu satvikam nirmalam palam rajasastu palam dukam agyana tamasa palam. Sattvam sanjayate jnanam rajaso lovevacha pramado moha tamaso bhavato jnanam evacha. So what's the translation? Close, not too bad. Karmana sukritas yahu satvikam nirmalam means that, what's that? Becomes purification. From the mode of goodness one becomes pure. From the mode of passion he becomes dukkha, unhappy. And from the mode of passion he becomes agya, he becomes foolish. Sattvam sanjayate jnanam. From the mode of goodness arises knowledge. Rajaso lovevacha. From the mode of passion comes greed. And bhavato jnanam evacha. Pramado moha tamaso. Pramado, madness. Pramado moho. Pramado moha bhavato jnanam evacha. Pramado moha. This is it. Yeah. Sattvam sanjayate jnanam rajaso lovevacha. Pramado moha tamaso bhavato jnana evacha. And so foolishness is ultimately the result of the mode of ignorance, and unhappiness is ultimately the result of the mode of passion, and purification is the result of the mode of working in goodness. And this depends upon mostly not only our activities. Of course, there are activities in the modes of nature. There's knowledge in the modes of nature. There is intelligence and determination. There's workers. There's so many things in the modes of nature. But according to our conception, especially the result, because if we work in ignorance, then our consciousness is in ignorance, and we don't know what the result will be. If we work in passion to get some result, then the result will probably get the result plus the karma. And if we work in goodness, there won't be any result, but there'll be knowledge. We'll become aware of things as they actually are. In other words, actually, we have no problem. Our only problem is that we think we have problems, and therefore we're desiring to solve all those problems that we think we have. And the result is we're simply creating more problems for ourselves. So we can think we have them and then try and solve them in the future. In any case, if we regulate our problem solving, then gradually we'll get used to the fact that we don't have so many problems, and we'll come to accept it, and then we can become purified and live without problems, however hard that may seem. What is this person? He doesn't think he has any problems. Why is he so peaceful? Let's go and agitate him. Give him some problems. Make him productive. So here it says, the creation problems, especially, is centered around sex, but is also centered around everything else. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. We think that without eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, I can't exist. Even Mother Yasoda with Krishna, she kept on wanting to feed Krishna because she thought if she didn't feed Krishna, he'd die. Now, of course, her kind of illusion is not so bad, because it's Yogamaya. But our illusion that we're going to die unless we take care of this body, that's certainly an illusion. But we're not about to get over the illusion, because even if we try to get out of the illusion, we generally do it in another type of illusory way. To artificially renounce the demands of the body without cultivating a higher consciousness is also another kind of illusion, the other side of illusion, attachment and aversion. In any case, human life is to get out of all the illusions, and especially the most prominent illusion is the fact that we're here to be the enjoyers. And of course, the archetypal enjoyer is Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So everyone is trying to become in the material world either Krishna or Srimati Radharani, and that way become an enjoyer in every species of life. And the byproduct of that is children, expansions. Just like Krishna is expanding his energies for his enjoyment, so we try to expand our energies, what we think is our energies, for our enjoyment. As Krishna has many part and parcels, so in the material world, between the so-called Radha and Krishna, they produce many children, which is supposed to be their expansions. And from there comes Sutapta Vitera Janasya Moho Yam Ahang Mameti. And then, of course, there's the children, the land, the house, the wealth, the prestige. So many things are all surrounding this romance in the material world. But in any case, one has to go through it, if one does have to go through it. But then at a certain time of life, we should try to give it up. So how to give it up? Well, we have to practice during our life. Everyone has to practice, not only householders. But we have to practice giving up sense gratification. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chaitasa sarva karmani maya sanyasya matparaha buddhiyo gamapashitya matsita sadatam bhava. And all activities depend upon me, work always under my protection, in such devotional service be fully conscious of me. In other words, Prabhupada starts out with that one should think that actually he's not the proprietor. So that's very difficult for us to think. Although it may seem very simple and easy, but these simple and easy things are very difficult for us because they're too simple and easy. And because our life is very complicated, we can't even consider accepting these things because they're too simple. Such as the fact that one may work in a bank and he may count millions of dollars, but he doesn't consider even 1 cent to be oneself. So for one to work in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada writes, he doesn't act as the master of the world, but just like a servant, he works fully under the direction of the Supreme Lord. That a servant acting under the direction of the Supreme Master has no affection for profit and loss. So that's inconceivable for the conditioned soul. I can work without anxiety. What I'm going to get, what I've lost, what do I have now? Is it enough? Do I need more? How can I get more? What happens if I lose what I got? What's going to happen to me? So many anxieties, hankerings, and anxieties over these things. So to live without that, it seems rather unusual or abnormal. But the beginning of that is to accept that everything here belongs to Krishna. And therefore we actually have nothing to gain, we have nothing to lose. The only thing we have to gain is knowledge, and that will help us lose our illusion. But therefore one should consider like that before the activity, that everything is Krishna's property, everything belongs to Krishna. I have nothing here to gain or lose. Therefore, there's no reason to be in anxiety. I do have to learn tolerance because under certain circumstances, either I'll have excessive happiness or excessive distress, and therefore under those circumstances I have to keep my consciousness in Krishna. Then, if everything belongs to Krishna, the next thing is how does Krishna want me to utilize his energy, whether it be my body, my mind, my words, or other things in relationship that I seem to have some kind of influence over. Therefore, Prabhupada writes, if one works according to Krishna's direction in this book, as well as under the direction of Krishna's representative, that will be the same as if we were directly working under Krishna's direction, as Arjuna was doing. Of course, it is rather unusual for people to consider that not only, first of all, to work under Krishna's direction in the book means that we have to know what's in the book. It is not that I have an advantage because I don't know what's in the book, and therefore, because I'm so sincere, it doesn't matter what I do. Therefore, Krishna has to accept it because he knows I'm in ignorance. And out of pity for me, he's going to... No, that's not the way things work. We actually have to know what it says in the books. It's not that this philosophy is for philosophers, but I'm just a devotee, so I just feel. But even we know it's in the book, but at the end of the book, we have to understand, we have to work at the conclusion of the book, we have to work under Krishna's direction, the representative of Krishna's directions. Not that I know so much that's in the book, I don't care for anyone else, because I know everything. What can anyone tell me? I know the whole book. No, the conclusion of knowing the book should be that we surrender to the representative of Krishna, who also knows the book. Not that I surrender to the representative of Krishna, and I ask him, can you explain to me what you just asked me to do in terms of the book? And he says, I don't know. I never read the book either. All I know, I'm supposed to tell you to do things. I don't know what to tell you to do, but whatever comes to my mind, I just tell you to do. No, we have to work under the directions of someone who actually knows what's in the book, so that the book, the person is telling us what to do, and the super soul in our heart, they're all saying the same thing. Not that the super soul is going, beep, beep, don't listen to that person. And don't read that book. No, it all is supposed to be the same. The book, the super soul, and the people who are telling us what's in the book are all supposed to be in agreement. And if they're not, then someone's off, and it's probably not the super soul. And it's not the book. Therefore, knowing what's in the book, and knowing what the representative of Krishna is telling us, therefore we become more conscious of what the Super Soul is actually inspiring us to do. Therefore, Prabhupada says that this word matparaha is very important in this verse, that one should have no goal in life save and accept to act in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna. In other words, if we want to make money, if we want to become famous, if we want to become so many things in this world, you're in the wrong movement. You can try, but Krishna will probably give you a lot of grief in your effort. If we want to work in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna, then this is the right movement. Become conscious of Krishna. But for that, we have to have some awareness. So one should have no goal in life save and accept to act in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna. And while working in this way, one should think only. In other words, if we really are wanting to do our everyday activities in full consciousness of Krishna, then we have to think in a certain way. That I've been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. If we're not so sure who told me to do this work, then we should step back and try and figure it out. Why am I doing this? Because my mind is telling me, my senses, my friends are encouraging me to do it, or I got a letter from my mother, or I just feel like doing it. Why are we doing it? Is it acting under Krishna's directions? I've been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna, and I'm performing it just for his satisfaction. Then Prabhupada writes that this is perfect Krishna consciousness because the result of such a aware devotee in desiring to please Krishna is that one will naturally think about Krishna. It doesn't require, meditation or some kind of mystical process. It simply requires an attitude of service. But an attitude of service doesn't mean whatever they tell me to do, I just do. Therefore, I have a very nice attitude of service because I never want to think very much, and therefore I just do what people tell me to do. No, an attitude of service means we have to know what our object of service is and what he wants us to do. And if we know by careful deliberation what he wants us to do, and we do it to please him, that's called the attitude of service. Please him doesn't simply mean I have some kind of abstract notion I'm in love with him. No, it means Shushusho Sharadanasya Vasudeva Kataruchi. And Prabhupada translates Sushusho Sharadanasya as hearing with the attitude of service, but very, Shushusho Sharadanasya. So Sharadanasya with great care and attention. In other words, if my mind is scattered all over the universe, I can't be very attentive. And if I'm just doing it to get the job done, because I think I have something more important to do, it won't be with very much carefully done. But with devotion is not some abstract thing. It manifests itself in practical activities of doing everything very carefully and with great attention. Then the result is Krishna will reciprocate with us because that's bhakti. Tesham sadatam yuktanam bhajantam pritipurvakam. Constantly devoted, Krishna says. So that's attention. Not that I do, my mind is on Krishna for 5 minutes and then it's on some other subject matter for the rest of the day. Constantly trying to fix the mind upon Krishna and with enthusiasm. Not that I'm doing it because I have to, or I'm afraid what's going to happen if I don't do it. Krishna is God, and he may do something strange to me if I don't serve him. Not out of fear or out of wanting to get something, but one should do it with great consistency and with great enthusiasm. And we learn that in the association of devotees. So in the association of devotees, it is not simply a question of hearing entertaining pastimes during the class so we can get through another class and get to our business of eating prasadam. Hearing this philosophy, bite the bullet and hear the philosophy. No, we have to really hear the philosophy. So in our daily activities, they have to have the quality of trying to fix our mind upon Krishna, even when we're not giving class and we're not chanting japa. Bringing the mind back to seeing things in relation to Krishna, bringing them back to remembering what the authorities want me to do, what Krishna wants me to do, what the books are telling me what to do, what the super soul is trying to inspire me to do, and doing it to please him. And we can judge it whether or not we're actually conscious of Krishna while we're doing our daily activities. But if one does something whimsically, Prabhupada says, that kind of duty is not in the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. It is not that we do something, and if the result is not very good, then I offer it to Krishna. If I get into trouble, then I start crying out to Krishna, Krishna, I'm in trouble, save me so I can get back on the right track and enjoying the material world again. No, if we're in difficulty, then we should understand that it's probably because I did something which I wasn't supposed to do in the past, or if I get some bad result, now is not the time to offer that result to Krishna. Result doesn't mean just physical result, but just if I'm getting some reaction for the past, it's not that I'm supposed to offer that to Krishna. I can try to fix my mind upon Krishna and do some service in the present, but not that I blame it all on Krishna. So that order of Krishna comes down through disciple succession from the bona fide spiritual master. So if one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, then his success in life and Krishna consciousness is guaranteed. Again, bona fide spiritual master doesn't mean that because I'm initiated by someone, therefore whatever they tell me is necessarily going to be exactly what Krishna wants me to do. It should be like that. That's what we hope for. But sometimes it doesn't work out like that. Because sometimes, unless one is directly in contact with the super soul, one may not see things so clearly. In any case, those who are acting as spiritual masters, they try to help us to the best of their ability to try to see things as clearly as possible in Krishna consciousness. So generally by following their instructions, or at least come to the platform of whatever platform they're on. But Prabhupada writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila 147, the Acharya in the true sense of the term, who is authorized to deliver Krishna, enriches his devotees with full spiritual knowledge, and thus awakens them to the activities of Krishna consciousness. So that's what we're aiming at, to become Krishna conscious. Surprise. We're actually trying to become Krishna conscious in all activities, and therefore we should try to take advantage, especially Prabhupada's books and the association of the devotees, to accomplish that. But it's not something very complicated. It's something we have to think about deeply, the basic philosophy, and see whether or not it's working for us, if we're actually understanding things more clearly, how, and accepting that Krishna is the proprietor of everything, and everything is really meant for his service, and only in that way can I do something good for myself and everyone else. And therefore I must understand under all circumstances what Krishna wants me to do. So in order to accomplish that, I have to hear from the devotees and study Prabhupada's books. There's no other way. There's no other way. There's no other way to get to Krishna except through Prabhupada and his books and his representatives. And the process, and following the process. Or else you're going to, it won't be Vaikuntha. You're going to downtown Brussels. No! So, how does it practically work? It works that the mind is constantly telling us to do things, if we haven't noticed it. is constantly inspiring us in different ways. But we have to check out whether or not its inspiration is coming from Krishna or is coming from the illusory energy. And accept what's coming from Krishna and reject what's coming from the illusory energy. Then we can perform our activities more steadily in Krishna consciousness with more enthusiasm, and eventually everything will be revealed to us. So a sannyasi, as mentioned here, is supposed to be one who's renounced, and all the devotees are supposed to be sannyasis. They're supposed to have renounced material desires and accepted the service of Krishna, which is what it's all about. So whether they're officially sannyasis, grihastas, or vanaprasthas, whatever else. But of course, we ourselves were aspiring to become devotees. Therefore, sometimes we find that people remain in household life for a long, long time, but they're actually utilizing household life for devotional service. And sometimes we find they're just attached. They're not really engaged in sadhana, they're not really engaged in preaching work, they're just attached, and they use the excuse that they're devotees, and therefore they don't really have to renounce anything. Therefore things are not always so simple. Because our main emphasis is not on Varnashram, our main emphasis is on practice of devotional service, so we can fix our mind upon Krishna and eventually, and also to preach. But our acharyas have given us that after 50 years old, we should take vanaprastha and then sannyas. Therefore, it is one of the requirements, although sometimes there may be some exceptions. 8:30, so we don't want to interrupt our main business. Any questions? Guru Padma?
You said something about the modes of the result of goodness, there was no result.
Yeah, there's no material result. There's not, by development of mode of goodness, well, I guess knowledge is a kind of result. We become clear. Well, good karma means to become conscious of Krishna. There is no other, that is good karma. So that if we think, sometimes we may think, by working the mode of goodness we may go to the heavenly planets. But that's goodness mixed with passion. For real goodness is become Krishna conscious. You may do pious activities with the idea of enjoying, but that's goodness mixed with passion. But to do real goodness is when you do the activity to become purified, not to get some heavenly result. You may get that anyhow, because the different planets are according to different modes, different types of consciousness. Different atmospheres are there to provide the results for different types of consciousness that were developed. But that's not the devotee's objective. Oh, that's good.
It seems that the mode of goodness doesn't really get, we say there's no result, really it's not like causeless.
Yes, it's causeless. Mode of goodness is considered transcendental too, generally speaking. To work in real goodness, not in do bias activities in the mode of passion, but to really work in goodness is considered transcendental. Do the duty without expectation or result, just to please Krishna, is considered to be, that's goodness. Well, we could say that's transcendental.
So it's not possible to be goodness on Krishna consciousness.
No, of course not. Can't be really good, because how can you be in goodness if you're not aware, if you're thinking yourself to be the lord of material nature and you're trying to enjoy, then you're in ignorance and passion. And if you think you're the benefactor, you're certainly mixed with passion, ignorance also. Yeah.
We were talking about Paramatma. In Bhagavata, it says that if you can see the Paramatma and other living entities, you don't become degraded by your mind.
Yes.
But if you cannot see how we became degraded, how does this...
Because we're already degraded. When you're on the bottom, it's hard to get lower. If you already hit the bottom, it's hard to go lower. So we don't become degraded, because we look at other living entities as objects of our sense gratification, and that degrades us.
You can't see the Paramatma, you can't watch it.
Well, it's not that, we get out our microscope and try and find Paramatma so we don't get degraded. If we don't understand his position as being the proprietor of all living entities and the controller, that all living entities are seated on a body, which is a machine that he's driving, if we don't understand that at least and act accordingly, then our activities degrade us. It's not a question of seeing necessarily with our physical eyes, it's seeing with our intelligence. Yes?
The day is quite long and all this instruction is really great, nice. But how to really handle this instruction? Really Krishna consciousness.
Read Bhagavad Gita regularly.
I'm just doing some service and
Chant Hare Krishna.
that's it.
Yeah, chant Hare Krishna and try to see things in Krishna consciousness. Don't become lazy. Don't walk around with lazy intelligence. Really try to see how things are related to Krishna as 24 hours a day. Don't think, I've worked so hard during the morning program, now I can take a break in Maya for a while. No, we have to walk out and still be in Krishna consciousness. That's why we're doing service, to help that, so we can remain in Krishna consciousness. Yes?
As you said, Prabhupada said, strictly means
No more making money. Not really. Vanaprastha means you don't beget any, especially you retire from fruitive activity, don't beget any more children, and try to cultivate Krishna consciousness. As far as making money, I'm sure it'd be better not, retired life means to concentrate more upon hearing and chanting, but making money for Krishna, that may be accepted, even in Vanaprastha life. But it's not the real objective. Prabhupada writes in the Srimad Bhagavatam, if you're in the mode of goodness, then you should try to prove that Krishna is God. If you're just as a summary, if you're in a mode of passion, then you should try to organize things in order to help Krishna, people understand Krishna consciousness. And if you're in the mode of ignorance and passion, then you should try to get some results from your activities, but offer them to Krishna. But then he says the best thing, after all, is to retire from all this and hear and chant about Krishna. In the absence of such a propensity, then one should engage whatever one has in Krishna's service. So that desire, that propensity to hear and chant about Krishna has to be cultivated. It can't be artificially gotten into. It has to be cultivated over a long period of time. And while we're cultivating that, we should utilize our propensities in Krishna's service so that we do develop that taste. So by utilizing our energies, if we were a Vaishnava trying to make money, and we engage that money in Krishna's service, then the result should be, it should inspire us to hear and chant about Krishna more. Yes? I don't know, I have no experience. He was saying that if you have more sons, Prabhupada says in the purport, if you have more sons and daughters, why is it more comfortable in the family life? Well, what's that? And pleasing. Well, I imagine the daughters, you have to give them a dowry. It's quite an endeavor. And the sons, they don't. You don't have to give them a dowry. They go out and they make money, and they support you. The daughters generally don't support you. You have to support them. Because nowadays no one supports you, so family life is not very pleasing for anyone usually. Yes.
I was just wondering, maybe I'm being too little, but Papa says one maybe get children up to the age of 50, but after 50 one must stop getting children. But it seemed like, and he said, and you should accept sanya, or the Bhagavata order. So it seemed like, if you're having kids over there to 50, then it's not the right time to take the Bhagavata either. You know, you have to start a little earlier than 50.
I had imagined. But probably just giving around, big figures, just big figures. I mean, even after, Prabhupada said after 30, usually household life is not very pleasing. It's quite, so, I mean, it used to be in ISKCON, if you got married at 40, it was considered scandalous. But now I guess it's 50 is possible, or who knows. But 40 was like, that was extraordinary. But that's when we were all 40. But I think probably means, really around 30 years old, you should probably, 35.
You're just taking a big margin here.
Yeah. Yes.
Is there a relation between the Kama Sutra and the spiritual consciousness? Because now I hear all the time you have to give up everything and
Yeah. Well, Kama Sutra is meant for people who are materialists, but we're trying to get out of our material consciousness into spiritual consciousness, so we really have nothing to do with those Kama Sutra, with the Akama Sutra. Yes. Yeah. It's a lot more. Krishna also had 16,108 sons and 1,608 daughters. So I guess, generally speaking, ladies even the ladies said they like, and the parents would rather have more sons, but you should have at least one daughter, something like that. Otherwise, if the whole world was filled up with just sons, it would be rather difficult.
And it's perfect to home in India now, because they ordered so many girls, and now they're having a hard time finding girls for the children to marry.
Yeah. From the mode of passion comes lamentation and ignorance. So, thank you very much. Karnatara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Haribo.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Maharaj, for sharing the wonderful nectar from Srimad Bhagavatam. And I would like to unmute the line of the devotees so you can share any comments or reflections.
Prabhu, did Krishna have daughters, Prabhu? What we heard is every wife had 10 sons. Did Krishna have daughters?
Maybe the senior devotees can clarify. I'm not sure. Chandra Gopinath Prabhu is there. Maybe Prabhuji can throw some light, Prabhu. Sadisha Prabhu.
I need to check, but I'm not sure. So.
I think we will check and let you know, Mataji.
Sure, Prabhu, sure.
One point which I really liked was, we should understand our propensity and engage ourselves appropriately. I think that was a very nice point. Those who are in the mode of ignorance and passion, Maharaj said, you should do the work and offer the results to Krishna. And through that process, you will get more and more taste in chanting and hearing, and you can make advancement. I think we should not just directly, whimsically try to jump into the higher mode without understanding our current position. I think that was a nice point. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you. There are no questions. We can end today's session. Tomorrow from Sunday, tomorrow is the first day of Damodar month. In temple, we will have program in the evening. There is no morning program. We will have program in the evening along with Damodar Arati.
So no morning class, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's only in the evening, Mataji. I think you will get an announcement today. So
yes.
It will be for the rest of the month, in the Damodar month, we will have classes, Sunday classes in the evening.
Prabhu, that tomorrow we should We can have milk or how is it, Prabhu? Or urad dal we should stop.
I think from tomorrow we should stop Urad Dal, Mataji, as per the calendar. Right, Gaur Chandra Gopinath Prabhu?
Yeah, that's right, Prabhu. You can start taking milk and you can stop